The Tyson plant gave us notice of a layoff procedure, warn notice over a week ago. They'll be closing their facility as of January 20th, impacting 3,200 individuals for the community of Lexington. The general mood of the individuals coming in for our services, of course, is anxiety. What do I do next? When am I? Will I have a job? Where do I go? And what do I do from here? Tyson workers make up about 3,200 of the population of 11,000 of Lexington. And so they have a great impact upon the culture, schools, and everything that.
Wait a minute, 3,200 out of a population of 11,000. That's an entire third of the population. That's insane. And we're in the United States where people are heavier than ever. And we have a population that is, well, it is growing. It's not shrinking. And we can't really afford to have less food. So how are they justifying closing down a food processing plant? You know, we used to have diversity in this industry, but they've all been consolidated into 4 major plants. I only know this because during the lockdown, they shut down 3 out of 4. And that's what caused a lot of inflation, because high demand, low supply, and they were trying to vaccinate the cattle. And then a lot of cattle died, and then they were a lot of cattle caught on fire when they were burning them up in the Midwest. And I know they were trying to take out the cattle in Texas, but they couldn't. But in other parts of the country, the same thing that was happening over in Denmark, where they're attacking the farmers and they're making it so expensive to even work, you can't maintain your farm. All this windfall of bad luck for farmers, ranchers, Tyson food processors, and their plants, all of this bad luck for all these different people and industries just magically seem to be a stream of good luck for a failed business venture of fake meat by Bill Gates. It seems like everything's working out in his favor for his failed companies that provide fake meat that we don't know what it does to your body 1 or 2 generations from now. We have no idea.
A community is comprised of.
I have 4 kids. My oldest is 21. I have one that is 13. I have one that is 11, and I have one that is 8. So when I told them, their reaction was to cry. They were mad. And I'm guessing that was just a reaction because they were heartbroken. They don't want to go anywhere. This is their home.
These plants have been underutilized, and we have a shortage of cattle out there in the U.S.
Why is there a shortage of cattle all of a sudden? We didn't used to have a shortage of cattle. We were pretty stocked in the United States. We actually have a pretty robust industry for cattle. We have tons of land and food. Why is there a cattle shortage affecting these locations?
And because of that, very vulnerable that somebody might shut down. Really, my heart was broken over the change of what it does to our community. We have a very strong community in Lexington that really is close-knit and very accepting of the packing industry as well as all industries.
We just hardworking people. That's it. We're just hardworking people. All we do is go to work, come to church. That's all we do here.
And this is what happens when you start putting all your eggs in one basket. So the way it works is there's only a few firms that are in charge of 85% or so of our food processing. Tyson was number 1, and then there's JBS, Cargill, and there's National Beef. And they do all the beef processing. But now most cattle are slaughtered and processed is done by just a handful of companies. So they can kind of outsource it to smaller businesses. But they're also struggling. The smaller ones are struggling to compete with the bigger ones but there's a high demand of food all over the country. You got to understand, a lot of our meat, unfortunately, is being imported from China and from other places. So that's also affecting the demand because our supply is coming from somewhere else. That's why America First is so important. If we were only buying from American sources and we were only focused on American food, we wouldn't have this problem. And the thing is, when you shut down an operation of 3,200 people working, how do you ever reopen? What's going to fill in that gap of demand for food? And then that's where Bill Gates and his bullshit fake meat comes in, the shit that we've been trying to avoid. Don't get me wrong, when it first came out, Beyond Beef, I was like, ooh, blah, blah, blah. You don't know what's in it. They use chemicals, they synthesize it, and they're basically tricking your taste buds, kind of like Cypher in the Matrix. I don't want to eat that. It's unnatural. Again, every time you try to replace the will, every time you try to, replace the will, you end up with bad results. Again, it's like trying to use Gatorade to water your grass. The only thing that's going to work is what's been traditionally working. You cannot try to do things brand new and expect to get the same results. 7 to 9% of the supply chain being reduced is going to create volatility, especially when the nationwide cattle herd is almost near historic lows. I remember a few years ago, they were speaking of using the mDNA to vaccinate the cattle. Now, all of a sudden, magically, we don't have any fucking cattle anymore. I wonder why. Are the cattle sterile? They don't reproduce anymore all of a sudden? I wonder why. Are they sick all of a sudden? They have cancer? I wonder why. Same thing's happening with my friends who are humans that took those same mRNA vaccines. I can't believe these people allowed themselves to get experimented on, their food supply, their kids, and it affects my bottom line. So I have to speak out against it. Now, some ranchers and producers warn that these closures further centralize power in the big packing companies, giving them even more control over prices producers receive the meat that ends up on the grocery shelves. So Tyson's being removed. So now it's going to be just 3 instead of 4. And they'll be able to control the prices. They'll be able to control where meat goes, because eventually, since the globalists are now taking over the Zionist agenda, you need to get to know your new masters. The globalist agenda is a motherfucker. One thing about the globalists is you will never eat meat again. No more steak, no more hamburger, no more chicken. They do not want you to eat meat. In Europe, they try to ban cattle by blaming their farts for global warming. And that's why the ranchers in these other countries in Europe went to war. Canadian ranchers went to war too. And the Americans, we were the only ones that were left out, but they secretly slid themselves in there, started giving those injections to our cattle. And now we're in a cattle shortage because, just like people, the cattle cannot reproduce at a rate to replace themselves anymore. So once they're gone, they're gone. And when there's no more meat, you're going to have to beg the same man that poisoned you the first time, which is Bill Gates and his bullshit.
Yeah, the emotions are just the same. It's like everyone feels, because this is something, like I said, that touches every fabric of this community. No one seems to be spared. In the midst of all of that, the message remains the same, that whatever God allows to come to us, He allows it because He knows what He's going to do about it in the end. So I keep assuring them not to be afraid.
Yeah, unfortunately, this happens. I remember seeing this same thing play out back in Detroit. And I was living in Michigan. I was barely just, getting started in real estate. So 2008, 2007, Kilpatrick was the mayor. and he was in his scandal with Christine Beatty was all over the news. But besides them and that drama, it was all the plants closing one by one by one. And these people that have historically been very successful and, have been working all these years for generations, they had their own companies that worked with the car companies, and they all kind of just went solvent at once and belly up. And I remember when all the foreclosures and the economy before the recession hit the rest of the country, it hit Michigan first. And listening to this story, it just takes me back because I remember I was working in healthcare at the time. And I remember watching when one industry that everybody was a part of, a lot of people collapse, it changes the dynamic of a city. It changes the entire country. I mean, 3,200 people in a town of 11,000. I mean, that's a third. I don't even know if they can even survive. What are you going to do? And I know, and other times I do preach that, the luxury of getting to live where you want to live and how you want to live, that's a luxury. And luxuries, like anything else, must be afforded. And if, the way it works with humans, if this was 500 years ago and we lived on a lake, right? And God forbid the lake dried up, we didn't just stay there and complain about how this lake used to be great. Now it sucks. We would migrate. We're humans. We move. We move and find greener pastures. And I would say that in this situation too, but it's, these people were specially trained for this type of work. So where are they going to go? And then also, we do need more food. I don't understand how they're creating. Well, I mean, I get how the shortage is here, but to justify not coming up with another solution so that they can stay open, it's puzzling to me because, again, we need food. Now there's going to be less processing plants. So that means, and then remember when they were sabotaging these food processing plants a few years ago, before Trump, obviously, they were sabotaging these places. They were just all blowing up and catching on fire all of a sudden as soon as Biden becomes president, because they're a part of the globalist agenda. I know we all hate the Zionists. We hate the war in Gaza. We talked about how they control us and we're their Goyim slaves, but what's worse, slavery or extinction? Shit, when you put it like that, these chains don't sound too bad, right? I mean, I can put some diamonds on this chain, because I don't know. I think at least if you're a slave, at least you're still alive. When you're dead, I mean, you don't get to have the human experience. And that's all I know is the human experience. So we're kicking out the people that seen us as less than slaves, and we're replacing them with people who want to exterminate us. And this is all the globalist agenda. You would own nothing and you will be happy. The United States will no longer be a superpower. You will never eat meat. You'll never own pets again. And you got to think about it. I've been watching the news lately. I see a lot of anti-dog and anti-cat propaganda. Oh man, these dogs killed these people. These dogs killed those people. And I'm like, why are you guys sharing all this bull? There's freak accidents, but why make a big deal about it? I'm seeing more about random dog attacks than I am about these black people that are literally doing home invasions and massacring people. I'm hearing more about dogs attacking people on mainstream media than Black Americans literally dressing up as fake UPS drivers and executing families. I guess one's a part of the globalist agenda, one's not, so it's inconsequential. It's just sad. These people put a lot of their eggs in one basket, a lot of their faith in a company, and they thought it would last forever, but that's not how it works, unfortunately. That's not how it works, but we need these people. We need these jobs. But then again, we have Trump in office, and that means we have hope. That means there is a chance that these jobs eventually can come back, and we're going to, because once we stop relying on outsourcing to other countries, because people don't realize this, a lot of our meat is stitched together and it's sent here from China, and God knows what they do to it over there. And they inject it with enzymes to make it look red and make it look fresh. They got all these different things they do to spruce it up. I've seen it. I've seen it before. And why do we have to do that when we literally have ranches and cattle? We have everything here, what we did. until we let them start euthanizing our cattle in the name of vaccinating our cattle. See, once you watch my videos and then you hear what I'm saying and then you say, you know what, I don't believe it. And you can get on YouTube and you can just say vaccinating cattle mRNA. Oh, really? Videos from 2021 and 2022 after Biden took office. Then you're going to see the explosions and how all these plants are burning down because they wanted to consolidate them. Again, there's going to be a food shortage that we're going to have to ask Bill Gates to give us fake meat to replace the real meat that we no longer have. And I remember when this first came out, people called me a conspiracy theorist when I was talking about it. Now that it's coming true, nobody has anything to say. And I'm wondering why so quiet? Why aren't you as vocal as you should be? You know, I mean, I feel bad for these people losing these jobs. I mean, because they depended on these jobs and they were hoping to retire from these companies. But again, you know, the luxury of getting what you want, how you want must be afforded. And right now we just can't afford it. So it's a shame. And these people they'll be out of work in January and they're going to have to either move. So that city's going to be deserted, you know, because who's going to be able to afford to stay? Restaurants are going to close. The schools are going to be empty. I mean, what is Lexington without the workers from this plant? Where are they going to go? We're going to have to figure this out. Like and subscribe, share the video. Yeah, I do appreciate you guys. Thank you, Lockhart Perspective. It's good talking to you as well. Yeah, it's the same thing with fish, also in the chicken industry. This works for those industries as well. But remember, they're literally making fake meat in the labs and they're trying to figure out how to pass it so that we won't be able to tell the difference. You know, my aunt was here. She actually came over, like, just, you know, she went and bought a bunch of groceries for me. I don't know why. I love my aunt. But she was telling me that when she's at home in California now, she's like, you know, she always cleans her meat a certain way. She cleans her chicken a certain way, for example. She lets it soak in vinegar with a little bit of salt. And she says lately she's been coming across more and more chicken that when she does that, it literally disintegrates. And then she has to throw it away because she's like, this is fake. She's been eating chicken her entire life. And she says, I'm coming across more and more fake chicken and I have to throw it away. I mean, it's just as idiotic as eating seedless watermelon. What the fuck is a seedless watermelon? Where are the seeds? where is it coming from? Like, all of this stuff it's mutant, it's poison. And it's all just to give you cancer, cause you to have organ failure, and they want you to die. Remember, the globalists are here. You think it's the public getting rid of the Jews? You think it's the public telling Benjamin Netanyahu and Ben Shapiro and everybody to go to hell and putting Mandami in office in New York and then going into Australia and going into Europe with hundreds of thousands or millions of people from Northern Africa and the Middle East flooding into these countries that were already dominated by Zionists from Israel? No, this is a coordinated attack. But the Zionist agenda is the gay agenda. The globalist agenda is the trans agenda. Different agendas. We think it's just all weird gay stuff. No, they're different. But the globalist agenda is the depopulation agenda for sure. I mean, at least the Zionists just wanted to enslave us. The globalists want to depopulate us. They want us to have they wanted to be 500 million humans or less. There's 6 billion of us now. I say that because the reports are after the scamdemic, China lost 1 billion people out of 1.5. Everyone that lives in Wuhan and Shanghai, they're reporting that the country is about, 500 million. So there's 1 billion people that just disappeared. But they don't want you to remember all those videos of people being locked in their apartments and people in plastic bags thrown into incinerators because they told you there was a fake virus going around. But really, they were just trying to lower their population and use any excuse possible. They don't want you to think about that. And I don't know why we would think our country would be immune. I mean, it seems like most of these advanced nations are taking measures to reduce their own populations. So naturally, to fill this gap that's going to be created in our food chain, they're going to inject it with food that gives you disease and cancer that your body cannot process. So it's not looking good. Oh yeah, no, I'm the one who told everybody COVID was a scam. I was the one who saved as many people as I could. I was on the front lines literally since day one. Actually, one of the first viral videos of the lockdown, like the day after the lockdown, I recorded a video that got up, upwards of 80 million views. It was a lady running next to my car in downtown LA with a rat in her mouth or a dog in her mouth. She was naked. And we were like, is this the zombie apocalypse? Yeah, I was on the front lines. Yeah, I'm pure blood. I never even took a test. So never took a shot. I don't date women that took the shot at all. I didn't even wear a mask. I literally moved to Texas from California over the mask mandate. I went to jail in Arizona over the mask mandate because I was serious about my convictions about the whole scamdemic. It was fake. And I just didn't want to play along. Everybody kept trying to convince me that, Rico, there's all these different benefits if you just pretend that this is real. You don't got to pay rent. You don't got to pay bills. I was like, eventually you're going to have to pay all that stuff again. And it's going to be pretty hard to get back into a routine of paying bills when you've been out of the game of paying anything for years. I'd rather go somewhere that's normal where I still have to pay bills and, I still have to be an adult. So then I left, and other people I know stayed in California, and they complied so that they could stay. And a lot of my friends are no longer with us. So I made my choice, I mean, to be honest with you, there's really not easier ways to kill a lot of people. It's not as easy as it sounds. Humans are pretty tough to kill. We don't die easy. I know that because Skid Row is right by my house in LA where I used to live, and them motherfuckers can live through anything. You thought cockroaches was bad. You never dealt with crackheads in Skid Row. So humans are pretty hard to kill, but also you don't want to advertise you're trying to kill them because humans will fight back. Humans are crazy, especially these Americans, because we're armed. So of course you're going to need fourth and fifth generational warfare to convince us to do the job for you. I mean, what do you think the gay agenda is? Why do you think they all commit suicide before 34? You don't meet them older unless they decided just to be gay part-time and they get a wife and have kids and then they live longer. But when that's just your primary lifestyle, it's a wrap. What do you think the whole MIT and Brown shooting was about? That was a crime of passion. That was two men that they were together in Portugal, the killer and the professor, except when they came to the United States together, one decided he wanted to live the lifestyle full time. One decided to just be part time. Then when the one who wanted to live full time like that, he realized that life is depressing, no children, no wife. And he figured, you know what, the first man he was ever with, he should probably go with them on his journey to the other side. And he went out and he tried to find them. He used to work at Brown. They used to go to Brown together. That's why I'm like, people don't understand that whole agenda when Gavin Newsom's talking about, oh, I want to see more trans kids. So you want to see abused and mentally ill kids. I mean, I would expect someone to say, I want to see healthy kids. There's nothing healthy about a kid with gender dysphoria who's mentally ill and they feel trapped in their own body. That's got to be a horrible sensation to feel, and to say you want to see more of that means that you're my enemy. He's definitely my enemy. So anyway, we can get on this topic a little bit later. I just wanted to bring up that fact they're closing this plant, and this is directly connected to the Bill Gates fake meat agenda, because he's going to fill the gaps in the food chains that are going to be naturally created by consolidating these plants into just 3 or 4 companies, because if 2 or 3 fall, then you only got one left. well, then it's easier to topple that as well. I mean, this is all gradually leading to basically replacing real meat with fake meat. We should all be afraid of that. Like and subscribe, share the video. Thank you guys for participating in the comments. Follow my page, subscribe, Rico Limbaugh. I'm on YouTube. This is the best place. I know a lot of you guys are on X and Twitter, but if you can, come to YouTube, subscribe, Rico Limbaugh at Right Wing Rico or The Single Boyfriend. Join in these conversations. I want to hear from you. And I appreciate you guys for sending me topics. I love when you guys are telling me, hey, let's talk about this. And I'll just give you my honest take on it. And we can have these discussions. We can have these discussions. Besides, a lot of our, and I'm not saying I'm saying our, a lot of our favorite personalities, they did take the shot a couple years ago. And a lot of them are passing away. Mr. Scott Adams, one of my favorite, is on his deathbed right now. And he's not the last. So there's going to be a big opening in the journalism news chain. So that's why I'm here, because there's going to be gaps that are going to need to be filled. So I'm just, hopefully I can earn your favor and you guys will come to me and let me read the news to you and have these discussions. So that's why I'm here doing content all the time. I do these videos all through the day, all through the night. So I appreciate you guys just being here. And thank you for subscribing. Abortion is absolutely eugenics. It's the lady who invented, the lady Margaret Sanger talked about it. And initially she was on the right path. She thought it should only be for a certain group. The problem is they expanded abortion to everyone, which is an issue. It actually defeats the purpose. You know, only certain people were targeted at first with this, but then everybody wanted it. And it's weird. I remember when the vaccine first came out, there was only one community that had access to it early, but then everybody else was complaining like, we want it too. And they were like, shut the hell up. It's only for them. You notice only the celebrities that look like them and rappers are the only ones promoting it. You don't see Leonardo DiCaprio or I don't know, Antonio Banderas or Jet Li talking about this. There's only Juvenile and Tyler Perry. Let's keep it over here. But no, everybody else wants to be a goddamn drug addict. Please give it to me. Don't keep it from me. Something with a 99.99976 recovery rate. These people are idiots. So I'm not saying everybody should survive. I'm just saying we're going to need certain people. So that's why I'm here. So we can weed through and decide who's going to make it and, you know, who's not. So, I mean, someone's going to play God. If Bill Gates is going to do it, I mean, why does he get to have all the fun, right? Dozy Don. Nah, you don't have any proof of that. See, the thing is this, the way it works, right? When you put a jacket on someone, you got to make sure it fits. So unless you have a name of somebody that Daisy Don did something to, if you can't name them, then you're just full of it. And you're basically just another fan, but you're so fanned out that you're a fanatic. You're like one of those crazy people that love somebody so much that you're like, you know, it's like your favorite actor. You're like, I love you so much. I just want to kill you. And I want to cut your skin off and wear it around and rub lotion on it. It's like, God, that's a lot of love, but love me a little bit less. So you're obviously suffering from TDS because you can't name any of Trump's victims. Until you get to that point, you can't say any of these things about them. These other people, we can name their victims. You can't name any of Don's. You're just projecting your homoerotic fantasies onto Trump. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure he might be flattered, but it is weird and it's creepy. So you might want to choose a new target, or at least someone that you can verify the claims you're going to make about them before you make them. That way, people like me don't make you look crazy on the internet by reading your name as Rob Dinsmore 87144. So anyway, I'll be back on stream in about 30 minutes. I'm going to drink some water, walk my dog, and then I'll be right back on. So I'll see you guys again shortly. And remember, America first, America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.